Got a good thing for you. Don't let anyone tell me otherwise, baby. That's right, girl. We'll be fine, whatever we'll be, and you ought to know by now. But you feel to be the same no matter where we're from.
Good morning. I wasn't going to make one today, but then before I came out, I saw a story online, true story, a news story, that I believe in Oklahoma, a lorry full of dildos had overturned on a highway and spilled its load, for want of a better expression, all over the highway. And thus, before I'd got out even to the Sala, I'd already remembered, because of the way the synapses work, I'd already remembered 2 quality dildo related stories. So that's what you're going to get today. Double dildos on a lake. Because it's Sunday and it's a day for the holy thoughts. Good morning. It's 31 degrees today. So kind of normal, really, which is a bit of a shame because it is getting colder and I like that. And we're at about the 3 o'clock on the lake, which means that the geese are well behind me. I was going to try and film the geese, but the kayaks turned around. And the sky's interesting today. So dildos. Is there anything that I won't talk about on a lake? No, there isn't. 2 stories. One of them, India, did not affect me directly, but it's a great story. I will change the names to protect the innocent. The 2 friends who spent a lot of time travelling, two nurses actually, who got married, and we shall call them Sarah and Steve. Now, my first trip to India was in the 80s with Mary, actually, and that's before I went back much later on to work there, work in Calcutta. And some friends of ours had been, what did I call them? Never mind, Shirley and Steve. That's what they're called now. So Shirley and Steve had been before us, and this was back in the days when everyone travelled with the original Black Bible, the Lonely Planet. I think the Black Bible was the first one, and we travelled with that. So that's how long ago it was, right at the beginning of Lonely Tony, or Lonely Planet. So, and in those days, wherever you went, whatever you wanted to do in India, you had to fill a form in. It's like an immigration thing. So you want to get on a bus, you've got a form to fill in. You want to buy something from a shop, there's a form. Like literally everywhere you went, and eventually you stopped taking them seriously. And everyone puts the joke names, so you see like Michael Mouse and Mike Hunt and all those usual things. So because there's just so many, you stop caring. Except at the airport, and the airports are kind of really were and probably still are very serious. And this is before 9/11. This is, before airports got really tight on security. But the one thing that India does have is a lot of people. So there were always a lot of people in the taxation and police and customs departments, and they took their jobs really seriously because they were government gigs. And so my friends Cheryl and Steve, I think that's what I called them. I should have used their real names, but no. Cheryl and Steve were getting an internal flight, but that still required them to have their bags x-rayed. They didn't always search your bags in those days. And this chap says to Cheryl, "Madam, do you have a torch in your bag?" Because he'd seen something on the x-ray. And she went, "I don't have a torch, do I, Steve?" I think, "Have you put my torch in my bag, Steve?" And Steve went, "No." And then the guy said, "Madam, there is an object here with two large batteries inside it. Did you pack it?" And she just immediately twigged what it was. And she went, "Oh yes, I have a torch." "Why, of course I have a torch. Yes, that's my torch. 2 batteries, you say?" "Oh, yes, that's my torch." And it was, in fact, her dildo. So she avoided the embarrassment of having her dildo pulled out of a bag and displayed by an Indian customs officer to the entire queue. A lucky escape there. Well done. And now, dildo tech has moved on quite a lot in the last, I'd say, decade, maybe a little bit more. But at the time these stories happened, I'd be in my mid-20s. And dildos were basically a kind of monolith. There was just like 1 or 2 kinds. There was none of this kind of realistic stuff, silicone. There might have been, but it wasn't commonly available, let's put it that way. And so they looked like a torpedo. Most of them were white or ivory coloured and were torpedo shaped. And don't get me wrong, you could still have a lot of fun with them. And yeah, so we got these white. I think those of my age will know exactly what I mean. Okay, you may even have one. And well done. You know, if it's still working after all these years. They don't build them like they used to. And so that's what Cheryl had in her bag. And Mary and I had one. And the way that you got to vary the speed of them was that you twisted the one end, the flat end, if you like. So you revved up the speed. You could go like from of course, when you put it inside somebody, it just went. That's different. Is that TMI? I don't care. I'm on a lake. That's not a sound effect, by the way. I'm actually making that noise with my mouth. So Mary and I had one of these, and of course you could stand it up on the I don't know what end to call it, but it's the bit that you screw off so you can put the batteries inside. The flat end. I'm going to call it the flat end because it's flat, and the other end definitely wasn't or isn't. So yeah. So one night we'd I don't know if we've been using it or not. That is TMI. However, it was normally on the side of the bed on a shelf and resting, stood up on the flat end. And that same night, I got a call quite late at night. There's no mobiles then, but it was on a landline. And so I picked up the phone and got the news, which we'd been expecting for a few days, that my grandfather had passed away. So it was sad, but more sad for my gran. He hadn't lived with us for most of my life. He'd spent most of that time in a psychiatric hospital in Macclesfield. He wasn't horribly mad or dangerously mad, but he was, he was not as others. had some obsessions. He was a bit of a genius in his time. So he was that kind of eccentric, mad person. But I loved him, and he was just delightful and gentle. Anyway, we got this news, and we'd been expecting it. He'd been ill for a few days. So, put the phone down, talked to Mez about it, a bit sad. And then was trying to get to sleep. And all of a sudden, the dildo started moving around on the shelf. And it was moving in very mysterious ways. Slightly buzzing. Moving from side to side and sometimes going around in a circle. And I looked at Miss and she looked at me and I went, "Fucking hell, it's Norman." That's my granddad's name. He's taken possession of the dildo. It's a Ouija dildo. And Miss, laughing, said to me, "What's it saying?" And I guess you had to be there, but we laughed until we cried. What had happened, of course, is that gravity had somehow moved the top half of the dildo and just switched it past the bit of the screw apparatus. There's a technical name for that, and that ain't it. But obviously the gravity had just taken it past the point where it actually connects and switches it on. But it was subsequently forever known as the haunted dildo. I hope you enjoyed those. I certainly enjoyed telling those stories, and I haven't told them for a while. Alright, that's it for today. I love you all very much. Bye.